Anti-Semitism is alive and well in our community right now. I hate that I have to say that, but it's true.
Anti-Semitism is an ancient hatred. I do not think we are going to cure it. I think we can treat it.
I describe anti-Semitism as like a chronic disease. It can be fatal if you don't challenge it, and it can be contained and reduced if you do. That's what I expect governments and leaders to do, and most of them actually do it.
It's really easy to say that Jews are responsible for a large problem, part of the problem in the world today. I've seen it a lot lately. I'm like, this used to be like really inappropriate thinking and talking just 20 years ago.
It used to be very taboo, and it is not anymore.
I do think we're in an environment where anti-Semitism has been normalized or destigmatized.
Anti-Semitism has never gone away. It just has, and I could see if you're an anti-Semite, you're going, the evil of the Jews is the closest I come to believing in magic, because they just never stop being evil. Like, I just don't understand how this never goes away. It never goes away. It's so f***ing weird. Like, no matter where Jews have lived, it follows the Jews. And I mean, I know that I'm sure at least one of your listeners is like, no, the Jews follow it. But it's like, it's crazy. It just won't go away. It's a virus that won't ever die down.
It's true that what they call anti-Semitism is on the rise worldwide.
There's a bunch of problems with this anti-Semitic thing going on.
It's a prejudice that, like a virus, has survived over time by mutating.
Conspiracy-minded thinking, the idea that they're Jews are a secret power that control the world, something that we see both on the right and the left is rising. And in a politics where there's no healthy middle ground, where there's no center, and where the lunatic fringe is rising on the left and on the right, you kind of have a perfect storm.
The left that is extremely anti-Israel in the mainstream. I mean, I just don't get how there's this right-wing thing, particularly on the fringe of the right wing, that just hates Israel and then just ascribes to it magical powers. I mean, let's just say they're anti-Semitic. And I'm saying that from a political atheist perspective.
Jew haters may be white supremacists, Islamic supremacists, or self-proclaimed social justice warriors.
Societies where anti-Semitism thrives are societies that are dead or dying. Why is that? It's because anti-Semitism is the ultimate conspiracy. And when anti-Semitism thrives, it's a sign that that society has replaced truth with lies. And so anti-Semitism is a kind of, one way to think about it is that it's a thought virus that's carried forward in civilization. And just like any of us have lots of viruses in our body at a given time, as long as we're healthy, they don't show themselves. When a society begins to become unhealthy and tearing itself apart, as we see here and throughout Europe, anti-Semitism begins to show its face.
You can't reason people out of anti-Semitism because no one was ever reasoned into it.
The fact that anti-Semitism, it's more than just about the Jews. It's about the health of a society that for pretty much all through human history, as certainly as long as the Jews have been around, whenever a society becomes anti-Semitic, it's an indication about something wrong in their body politic. That's interesting to me.
That's exactly right.
Because I think anti-Semitism is an ancient disease, and when it rears its ugly head, it first attacks the Jews, but it never stops with that.
Anti-Semitism has been rightfully called the longest hatred. I would root it and find its roots in the New Testament, in the story of the death of Jesus.
Why the Jews? Why do they have the kick me sign on their back?
Well, I mean, I'd have to go back to the book of Matthew, and even before that to Egypt in 300 BCE.
I mean, there's so many different peoples in the world.
Sure, I mean,
a lot of them have gotten shit from a lot of people, but it just seems the Jews are always on the move.
Yeah, we are. Okay. And I think here's one reason for it.
So,
when the Jews rejected Jesus as the Son of God.
Oh, that thing.
Okay, that thing.
I knew there was something I had forgotten. That whole
little detail.
Always comes back to him and his bad day.
But just think about it. Just think about it for one second. So, if you look at the idea that the Jews get the tiny Jews get the most powerful empire in the world, the Roman Empire, to do their bidding by killing Jesus.
For centuries, indeed millennia, Jews have been convenient scapegoats, and they still are convenient scapegoats for very many groups, again, on the right and the left, Islamist supremacists and others.
And they just use Israel as a political football, like a voodoo doll that all the evil in the world's heaped on. And Israel, when it does something, has a crooked toenail. It's the biggest thing in the world. Everybody else is okay. What would the world do without Israel to blame for everything? Just an excuse to point your finger all day long and say Israel's the problem if you fall on a damn banana peel. And I'm not here kissing the ass of Israel. Okay, and that if somebody falls on a banana peel, Jews did it. If somebody falls on a banana peel, Jew, I mean, it gets a little old.
We've been kicked around for 2,000 years. The face you're looking at's got a lot of anger in it because of that. That's not a way to live, wandering around the globe, never having a home. It's pretty difficult because every time there's trouble, we're scapegoated. We're not the only ones that are scapegoated, but we're scapegoated by people who are frightened. They don't care. They are paranoid. Jews, like other minorities, better get scared, better get angry, better fight for what's right, and try and convince people courage is the cure for paranoia, not racism.
When people say that Jews have dual loyalty or that it's all about the Benjamins on one side, or when people say that the globalists are trying to take over Congress and that Jewish financiers are trying to destroy our borders, and people don't call it out, and they say it's okay. So number one, I think it's infecting the public conversation, Congressman, in a way that just wasn't happening a few years ago.
If you look at the anti-Semitic tropes that we see now, what is the Jew? The Jew is not, it's not like racism where the person of color is subhuman and the racist is punching down. In the anti-Semitic conspiracy theory, the Jew is the wily manipulator, the puppeteer, the person close to power that gets power to do its bidding. And in a way, it all goes back to that original conspiracy.
The oldest conspiracy theory in history, the lie that Jews are somehow dangerous.
The stereotypes are money, a fixation with money, power. They have smarts in a malicious kind of way, conniving.
The greed issue continues. Then you follow control. Jews want to control the world for their interests. It could be money or whatever. That's this conspiratorial. Jews are on the top of the hit parade of conspiracy. So that, for example, we're in an economic crisis. In Europe, over 30% believe that Jews are responsible. In the United States, 1 out of 5 Americans believes that Jews are responsible for the economic crisis because they see Jews in Wall Street, they see Jews everywhere. Control of Hollywood is big. The whole conspiracy that, and you'll find conspiracies anywhere. So if you don't like something that's happening, maybe you screwed up, you did something wrong, it's because the Jews are behind it. It's the Jews who are controlling finances. It's Jews who are controlling foreign policy. There is also a canard that's out there, very big, about loyalty. The Jews are not loyal to their community, but not loyal to their country. 30% of the American people to this day believe Jews are more loyal to Israel than the United States. In Europe, it's 60, 70%. In Poland, 60% believe that 10,000 Jews are not loyal to Poland. In Norway, the 5,000 Jews, it's 70%. So that's a canard which goes to the essence that you can't trust Jews, you can't rely on them.
A survey of over 50,000 people in 96 languages in over 100 countries. About a quarter of the world's population holds views of Jewish people that are, by ADL standards, anti-Semitic.
Anti-Semitism, as has been said, is sometimes called the oldest hatred. It isn't new.
Jew hatred is as old as the Judean hills, predating even the ancient rebellions of the Jewish nation against the Roman imperialists and colonialists who had conquered their lands. Over the centuries, Jews have been persecuted, attacked, and murdered based on their religion and what used to be called their race. If anti-Semitism is a disease, what we're experiencing today is a global epidemic. Jew hatred has become not just widely acceptable, but edgy, even fashionable in some quarters, in lands even where there are virtually no Jews.
The ancient evil of anti-Semitism still exists, and sadly, it doesn't just exist, it's on the rise. We must live our lives free from fear. We must reject hate, and we must take action to confront it. Anti-Semitism has no place in our society.
Anti-Semitism has a very strong traditional role within conspiracy theories. And this is why repeatedly we see anti-Semitism cropping up in the language, in the discourse of extremist movements of all types, whether they are far right, far left, radical Islamist movements, and even New Age movements. We often find anti-Semitic conspiracy theories. The idea of Zog, the Zionist occupation government, that there are Zionist or Jewish hidden powers behind our governments, was the most common one they found in the literature of all different extremist movements.
We have leading voices in our nation from both sides of the political spectrum, in academic institutions, in the media, in other stations in public life, who are normalizing anti-Semitism. They are using anti-Semitic myths and tropes about globalists controlling government, Jewish money destroying our borders, dual loyalty to Jewish citizens, or attacking the Jewish state with the same dangerous myths that were used throughout history to demonize the Jewish people. And all of this destigmatizes anti-Semitism and renders it routine.
Anti-Semitism is the original fake news. Anti-Semitism has always relied on lies and libels and myths about Jews that unscrupulous political and religious leaders have used to mobilize their own supporters or to whip up a mob. One of the striking things about anti-Semitism is that you have to be able to believe things that could not possibly be true. Conspiracy theories, anti-Semitism, what is now being called fake news, they all live together in a world, and it's given a new lease of life to some quite nasty anti-Semitic ideas. But in the conspiracy world, where you're not supposed to believe any official story about anything, you shouldn't believe anything that any establishment authority tells you, Holocaust denial has a home. And it has a home alongside conspiracy theories about 9/11, or about the 7th of July tube bombings here in Britain, or about the moon landings, or about Princess Diana's death. And all these things just fit into these mix together, and the old barriers between what is far left and what is far right, what is fascist and what is anti-fascist, get completely blurred and broken down, because you get the same conspiracy theories in all different parts of the political spectrum. And as ever, as I said, when conspiracy theories are the main way of understanding politics and of viewing the world, anti-Semitism will always have not just a place, but a central place.
We work with Google on using AI to try to interrupt cyber hate before it happens. We work with YouTube to get them to change their algorithms so it lessens the likelihood that a young person's going to run into some of these anti-Semitic conspiratorial videos. We work with Facebook on trying to use a redirect method, so when you search for Holocaust as a hoax, you get directed to like a Yad Vashem page.
Why now? And I want to say professors like to explain everything, but one important thing in social science is deep and complicated human phenomenon don't always have an explanation. And everyone wants to say, oh, this is happening because they read the right-wing website, the left-wing website. It could be they did that maybe, but they also probably had breakfast, and the breakfast didn't make it happen either. Why these things happen, why these strange movements of people uncoordinated happen at different times is very hard to know, but we know that there are countries where there are no Jews, and yet surveys suggest deep anti-Semitic views. They've never seen a Jew. Why is that? And that is why anti-Semitism needs to be treated with particular sensitivity, because it's something deep, because it's something atavistic. It's something that's always with us. I think and that is why it may be a mistake to lump it in with all other isms, all other antis, because anti-Semitism is something that is just always with us and comes in strange waves and motions, and we need to be able to deal with it even if we can't fully understand it.
For many years I lived and actually grew up among non-Jews, and this is what I heard from them, that you're smart people, more successful than we are. Meaning, there's this kind of appreciation, a feeling of being lesser because I'm not a Jew. This is a subconscious feeling that exists in most of the people in the world. The reason for anti-Semitism doesn't exist on the level of this world. It's something much deeper, spiritual. We used to be on a spiritual degree and we fell from it to the corporeal level, and the impression from that spiritual degree is left in us. And therefore, to this day, we're successful in different fields, and this is why we're hated, because we bear inside us an impression from the upper world. The people in the world, they don't exactly know what's the reason for it, but feeling bad towards Jews is something natural. It's embedded in nature. No one can do anything about it. But it's something that truly comes from the very foundation of the world. That Jews are that group that bear inside them the plan and the program for the correction of the world.
She also said Israel has hypnotized the world, suggested that Jews in Israel have bought U.S. politicians all about the Benjamins, implied that American Jews have divided loyalties and it's okay for people to push allegiance to a foreign country. I again say, why this obsession with Jerusalem and Israel? Why this obsession with this specific area of the country?
This obsession by all these losers with Israel, and it's just all a load of crap. My problem with the anti-Israel crowd is it's so tunnel visioned and never talks about anything else. And a lot of people out there have been brainwashed into just obsessing on Israel all day and hating Israel, and it's quite frankly shameful, because you're not intellectuals. All you know how to do is say Zionist, 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 until I want to throw up.
These are dog whistle comments for Jewish Americans.
Yes,
they are.
we
and
agree.
They hear what she's saying. I take this very personally. I would go so far as to say I probably verge on being a Zionist as well.
And by the way, they make Zionist a dirty word. They make Zionist a dirty word.
I don't have family that is Jewish, but Joe Lieberman and Hadassah Lieberman are my family.
Yeah.
And I take the hate crimes rising in this country incredibly seriously, and I think what's happening in Europe is really scary. And I'm sorry if I'm getting emotional, but...
Well, I would say for the past decade or more, I've been watching, as all of you have, the rising anti-Semitism across Europe. Cemeteries being defaced.
Right.
I am now worried that what we are seeing in Europe could be coming here.
You're right.
The idea that this is politicized, I'm really not. I was very nervous to talk about this on the show because I thought it would become politicized, and it really shouldn't be. On both sides, it should be called out.
Right.
And just because I don't technically have Jewish family that are blood related to me, it doesn't mean I don't take this as seriously, and it is very dangerous. Very dangerous. And I think we all collectively as Americans on both sides, and what Ilhan Omar is saying is very scary to me, and it's very scary to a lot of people, and I don't think you have to be Jewish to recognize that.
You haven't really told us why there's anti-Semitism. Anti-Semitism is a result of jealousy, that there's a jealousy of Jewish success. It's because Jews excel.
They don't have any power. The reason you're not successful is because of the Jews. A lot of the anti-Jew crowd, they attribute magical powers. They're always saying everything I have is Jewish and Jews tell me what to do. And it's just like, it's just an excuse for people not to be successful. And I just think, it lets people cop out and not take action on their own lives to say, I don't have a job because of Jews. And that's really my problem. You've got Funyuns and Hot Pockets in mommy's basement and have learned the word Jew and can say it over and over again like a magic word. The extreme right wing's magic word is Jew or Zionist, but I just don't want to hear Israel bashed anymore. I don't even want to hear the debate or the discussion because it's them trying to set the parameters of the debate with this obsession on Israel all day. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of hearing about Israel. I'm tired of it.
The time for talking and having a conversation is over. What Israel and the Jewish community around the world demands is action. And now, it is simple. Those who engage in anti-Semitism must be punished, whether it's here at the UN, political leaders, editors, policy pundits, or college professors. It doesn't matter. Anti-Semitism should have no place in our society until it becomes criminal. This bigotry will persist. It will fester. It is only a matter of time until it erupts again in violence and bloodshed.
People can be anti-Semitic and have no consequences. What we've seen more and more here in Germany, but also all around the world, is that there's no laws. How do you allow this to happen? He said there's no law against it. There must be laws in Germany and Europe, really strong laws.
The United States must remain a global leader
not only in speaking out against anti-Semitism, but in holding those who enable those vile beliefs accountable.
With one voice, we vow to crush the monstrous evil of anti-Semitism whenever and wherever it appears, and we're working very hard on that. And I can tell you that we have a lot of people in government working very, very hard on that, and we appreciate their work. It's not easy.
It was a great honor to be sworn in this morning by the Secretary, and an even greater honor to work on this issue as part of an administration committed in unprecedented fashion to the fight against anti-Semitism, to the protection of the Jewish people throughout the world, and to the support for the Jewish state.
This evil anti-Semitic attack is an assault on all of us. It's an assault on humanity. It will require all of us working together to extract the hateful poison of anti-Semitism from our world. The scourge of anti-Semitism cannot be ignored, cannot be tolerated, and it cannot be allowed to continue. We can't allow it to continue. It must be confronted and condemned everywhere it rears its very ugly head. We must stand with our Jewish brothers and sisters to defeat anti-Semitism and vanquish the forces of hate. That's what it is. We must never ignore the vile poison of anti-Semitism or those who spread its venomous creed. With one voice, we must confront this hatred anywhere and everywhere it occurs.
Anti-Semitism is not just wrong, it's evil. Anti-Semitism must be confronted wherever and whenever it arises, and it must be universally condemned.
Anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism. That will be our rallying cry as we go forward to fight this ancient scourge that sadly is on the rise today and must be combated. And we're very proud that this department and this administration is focused in unprecedented fashion on doing that.
Let me go on record. Anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism. The Trump administration opposes it unequivocally, and we will fight for it relentlessly.
Send a message that anti-Semitism, Jew hatred, that anti-Israelism, that anti-Zionism is something that decent people do not tolerate.
And together, all of us, we're going to eradicate the sinister scourge of anti-Semitism. And we will protect Jewish communities and all members of the Jewish faith from the wicked forces of hatred and violence. And you know that, and the love by evangelicals, Christians, for Jewish people and for Israel is incredible. It's incredible. We have to get the people of our country, of this country, to love Israel more. I have to tell you that. We have to do it. We have to get them to love Israel more, because you have people that are Jewish people, that are great people, they don't love Israel enough. You know that. You know that.
Speeches are not going to stop anti-Semitism. Action will. And one of the things we're seeing more and more is speeches and no action. The way we have to have stronger laws. We have to stop the hate on the internet. We have to educate the children of what will happen.
We will not rest until the horrible and vile ideology of anti-Semitism has been defeated and destroyed. For this reason, I recently signed an executive order to restrict federal funding to any college or university that spreads, supports, or promotes anti-Semitic prejudice in any form.
There is no more important event in those 65 years to turn universities away from being bastions of hatred and discrimination than this executive order being signed today. It is a game changer. It will go down in history as one of the most important events in the 2,000-year battle against anti-Semitism. Thank you, Mr. President. You did a great job. The people who helped you do this did a great job, and you will be remembered by history for all time for having signed this very important order. Thank you.
We think the executive order that was signed by the president just a few weeks ago is incredibly important. The guilt of the Holocaust and its memory is fading, and that's allowing, again, I think, bad ideas to come into the center.
That's why Friends of Zion exist, to combat anti-Semitism. We get thousands of anti-Semitic posts every day. Every single day we get thousands, and I'm delighted. Because here's what we do, Mr. Prime Minister. We take those posts and we profile them. Yes, the new wars are ideological wars.
Through the centuries, the Jews have endured terrible persecution, and you know that. We've all read it, we've studied it. They've gone through a lot. And those seeking their destruction, we will seek their destruction. And when you have crimes like this, whether it's this one or another one or another group, we have to bring back the death penalty. They have to pay the ultimate price.
There is no anti-Semitism without Semitism. The one presupposes the other. Anti-Semitism only arises, and I'm not the one who invented that. Look at Theodor Herzl. Study Theodor Herzl's concept, a reaction set in. Why not? They were, the way they behaved, irritants, because they displayed the same voracious ethnocentrism, power-grabbing, influence peddling, buying of politicians, dominating of the public airwaves and the public media in Germany and so on, that they display in the United States. And I'm not much of a prophet, but that much I can say based on history, that in the United States, mark my word, you will have Weimar conditions and you'll have solutions to the Weimar conditions that will be very similar to what happened in Germany. And so this is what anti-Semitism means. First there is Semitism and then there's anti-Semitism.
This is one of the biggest reasons of why he hated Jews. Because they destroyed the economy because of their greed. Rabotai, it's not making them right. Don't let this confuse you. But this is happening again. And you'll see, nobody listens to me, nobody listens to the Torah, nobody listens to history, and everybody ignores it. This is going to be a huge blow up, but you'll see what happens. And you'll see that all of a sudden the 6 million Jews that are in America, that feel comfortable, that are sometimes in government, that are sometimes in politics, that are running big businesses, and so on and so forth, guess what? Same exact thing happened in Germany. We were in politics, we were in business, we were prospering, we were great. In Germany, same exact thing. In Greece, same thing. In Rome, same thing. In Egypt, same thing. But guess what? We get greedy, we get sinful, we become Reshaim. What happens? Hashem says, oh, you want to be Reshaim? I'll punish you. With what? With the same goy that you wanted to become like. And this, Rabotai, is what's happening under our noses. If you love Jews, you have to let people know this is going to bring an ason to Am Yisrael. It's going to bring a disaster to Am Yisrael. It's going to bring a disaster no different than the Holocaust.